Because I can promise you, when enough of you all start complaining, whether or not the brand is making this an issue or not, it will become an issue that they have to contend with at the Loctician level. With Tanisha Ali, my channel exists for the purpose of raising the level of awareness when it comes to styles like Sisterlocks. Primarily Sisterlocks because I happen to have Sisterlocks, but also I try to provide a balanced perspective with regard to all styles that may be considered locks that I know a little bit about. You know, I'm not going to be talking about freeform locks because that's not my thing. I can talk a little bit about traditional locks, although I typically don't because my daughter has them and I've watched her journey. However, when it comes to smaller, tinier locks, a lot of the things that I'm going to be saying can apply to that across the board. But I do expect you to be discerning when you listen to some of the things that I say. I'd like you to be open. Overall, I'd like you to be more discerning about the information that you just may be taking in or have taken in for granted without actually thinking about it and determining whether or not it even makes sense when it comes to how to care for your Sisterlocks and when it comes to some of the things that you may be experiencing. Unfortunately, my niche has kind of been carved out on this channel by you all who watch me. Initially, when I came on this channel, I came on here to have fun, to laugh and play around. I thought I was going to, you know, be able to get some of you all over to my Butterfly Transformations channel, which is my spiritual channel. And I felt like hair would be a great way for us to connect. And then maybe we could begin to talk about other things. And then I started realizing, heck, I was enjoying this. And then I started realizing that some of the things that I was saying was making sense to you all. And then I started realizing, wait a minute, we got a problem in this community. And it's beyond the initial problem that I thought, which was sometimes people who have Sisterlocks kind of think they're better than other people, which to me is ridiculous. You are not better than anyone. If you're sitting up here and you're watching this channel and you think that what's going on outside your internal. I Am Melanin Magic's fragrance bombs are explosive. Get your charcoal. Make sure you heat it on a heat source long enough so that the charcoal turns gray on all 4 sides before you place any of the incense, bahor, or unsi on top of the charcoal. Take a small piece, if not the entire ball, take a small piece of your fragrance bomb. And as you break off that small piece, place it on the gray charcoal and enjoy the concentrated aromatics, fragrances, and natural ingredients. Our fragrance bombs are the bomb. Use in a ventilated area and use when you need fragrance all over your space. Feminize and romanticize. I am Melanin Magic, and so are you.
Welcome to Tanisha's Locks, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri, the channel where we get it all in. You can also learn more about the I Am Melanin Magic brand. Thank you for stopping by.
Essential you. Anything outside of your soul is going to make you better than someone, then I feel sorry for you because you're empty on the inside if you think that this is going to make you better than anyone. So let me just get that right out the way, okay? One of the things you all know about me is I love you, and I love you with intensity. But I also try to be frank. But in my being frank, I want to present a balanced perspective. I don't want anybody thinking that I hate the brand or I have a problem with Sister Cornwell. That wouldn't be true. I have some issues with the brand that I would love to have highlighted, and I speak on behalf of many of you who enjoy this channel. So if you all are coming to me with problems simply because I have a little bit of visibility on my little channel, then I'm a spokesperson. And as a spokesperson, what does it say in leaders? One of the ways that we're going to be judged in the eyes of God is that were we a responsible leader? Were we an honest leader? Did we take advantage of people? Did we cheat people? Were we dishonest? All of these things are things that I try my best to be mindful of in every area of my life that I'm involved with, whether it's my businesses, whether it's the intercourses that I'm having with the different people that I may talk to. I try to do what I can. So for me, it would be unconscionable for me to sit up here on this channel and talk about all the beautiful things and not tell you about the things that I have felt inside of my heart are problematic. I have to at least share that with you and then give you the opportunity to then say, well, what Miss Ali is saying, that don't apply to me, or that don't make sense, or I don't like it. Fine, do whatever you want to do. But it's on me. The onus is on me to try to uplift and heighten the level of awareness about what is important about this style, if you plan on taking this long term. Because for some of you, it's not going to be if, it's going to be when you're going to start having serious issues with your locks. And for me, like I said, you all carved out a niche for me. I didn't come initially to be in this and to be talking about this, but I'm interacting with you on the channel and you're telling me about your concerns. And deep within me, I'm being told and I'm getting downloads that it's about something that we're doing. All of us that take up a particular banner, no matter what it is, maybe you're fighting for the environment, maybe you fight for pets, maybe you're Black Lives Matter, whatever it is that you feel passionate about, you feel a calling, right? And you can't resist that calling. And you can't worry about who that calling may ruffle the feathers of, right? All you can do is try to be just, fair, honest, and do what you can to be self-effacing and make sure that you're taking a balanced approach and have a level of self-inquiry that requires you to sit back and say, well, you know, Tanisha, could you have said that a little bit better? Is that really what you want to publish? Is that really the way you wanted that to come out? So I say all of that to remind you that it's my job to present a balanced perspective. And sometimes you may hear me singing the praises of Sisterlocks and everything that goes along with it. And other times when I'm talking about other things, I'm talking about issues that I have. These issues are not necessarily with Miss Cornwell, but they do relate to her to the extent that the brand, the client base, or those of you that I'm talking to, which I feel if I got 22,000 subscribers, there's a decent percentage of people within that 22,000, not the whole 22,000, but within that 22,000 that represent a significant part of our community. All of them may not even be actual Sisterlocks. Let's say of the 22,000 subscribers, only 10,000 of them were Sisterlocks people. And 10. And let's say out of that 10, only 3,000 people resonated with everything that I'm saying. 3,000 people is still significant. And if I had 3,000 clients that were upset with me, I'm going to be on it. I don't care where I got my businesses at and what I'm doing all over the world. I'm going to be concerned because they represent a voting block that I got to listen to because they're a part of my constituency. That's why I say you are important. And what do people do when we're talking about activism? We start at the grassroots. What do we covet? We covet what we see every single day. What do you need to covet? You need to covet and start working with your locticians. Tell them that these retightenings hurt. Tell them that your scalp is sore. Tell them that you had to take some Excedrin. Tell them you couldn't go to work the next day. Tell them you couldn't pull your hair up because it's hurting so bad at the back, or your eyes being pulled like this because these over here are too tight. Tell them what you got to say. And if they don't listen, vote with your feet and walk. Before we dig into today's content for the video, I did want to take a few moments to share with you one of the many visual successes that the I Am Melanin Magic hair brand is having. The Magical Hair Growth Serum has been very successful in helping people to restore hair in areas that have long been bald or that have been very difficult to remediate. This client, as you will see as you continue to watch, has been using the product for 2 months, and in the 2-month period has experienced some major changes. So we celebrate these changes, and over the next several videos I'll be able to share with you more and more of the pictures that many of you out there on this beautiful channel, on this blessed channel, have been so gracious and kind to share with me over the last almost 1.5 to 2 years. I'm organizing the files now and really making an effort to show more of the success that the products are having now. This is the Magical Hair Growth Serum being used consecutive days, I believe from Wednesday to Saturday or Sunday. And this has been a very hard to treat area for this client. So hopefully you enjoy taking a look at the before and after. We've had various other successes with male patterned hair baldness. Again, the results do vary from person to person. I'm hoping that you will stay tuned for the release of the Magical Hair Growth Serum Accelerator. The group that is participating in the trials, hopefully, I'm giving a shout out to all of you women, will receive your samples within the next 6 weeks. I'm very excited about this particular product because it's entirely different, but hopefully it will be just as effective, or it will pick up where the other serum leaves off. It is definitely worth a try. We're getting some amazing results. I love you guys and thank you for all your support. The I Am Melanin Magic brand salutes your support. I am Melanin Magic, and so are you. Because I can promise you, when enough of you all start complaining, whether or not the brand is making this an issue or not, it will become an issue that they have to contend with at the Loctician level. Because the Loctician is the one that is responsible. And I love my 2 Locticians. I've had the best experience in the world. But again, I'm speaking for you all. I'm the spokesperson for you all. All right? I got a head full of locks. I'm not having trouble. But I'm speaking for you all. That is my responsibility because God has put me up here and has given me this platform, and I must use it wisely. To whom much is given, much is required. So I have a responsibility, especially if I have doubts myself, especially if I'm having issues that I've experienced over the years here and there with regard to various aspects of this journey, especially if I want to be true to you. I have to be willing to do the hard things, the things that are not always easy. I'm not taking on the brand. That's not my at this point in my evolution, that's not my goal. My goal is to highlight some of the rituals associated with the brand that can be potentially detrimental. Not because she created a detrimental brand necessarily, no, but because there's a lack of attention to some of the things that are being done with or without her authorization that are affecting you. And I think you got Sisterlocks because of the brand. You trusted in the brand. Just like when you go to buy Coke over Pepsi, you trust in Coke. Just like when you choose Walmart over Amazon to do your deliveries, you trust in Walmart. And if you have a problem with a Walmart order, you're not going to sit in your house and be upset. No, you're going to call Walmart, right? Especially if you spent $1,500 or $2,000 or $2,600. So it comes down to how much can we wash off a certain amount of responsibility that we have when we have a brand that is reaching so many people, and people are coming to the brand because of the reputation and the belief and the faith in the brand. You could have gotten Microlocks. I could have gotten Microlocks. Now, granted, when I came into this journey, I didn't know enough about anything. So I didn't know about Microlocks necessarily. I knew about small box braids, micro braids, but not Microlocks. But today, most people know that, they have options, but they chose this. And what makes them choose this is the fact for a lot of people that there is a system and there's a certain way that it has to be done. And you're not going to get hijacked, that there's a certain system. So if that's the way we chose it, then the system is what we're expecting, right? And we have to inspect what we expect. I can't have people running around saying they work for I Am Melanin Magic and they're replacing my 200 bottle of stinging nettle like this with some crap they got from the United Arab Emirates that's diluted. And then it's affecting my blood. No, I can't have that. I've got to know that whoever's working for me, that I'm watching what they're doing. Otherwise, they can't be associated with my name because it's just that important. And for sure, when you're paying big bucks like what we're paying, we just want a little bit more is all I'm saying. So I'm not here to bash. I respect Miss Cornwell. I respect everything that she's done. I've said that multiple times, but I also am a critical thinker. And I can also look at something and I can see some issues with it, especially when those issues are on my front door or they're in my bed with me, okay? Or you're bringing them to me in the comments. And I've never been a sheep that you could just lead to slaughter. I always say that the sheep never sees the glory of the sun until it's been slaughtered. No, that's not me. I'm not going to be led to slaughter just because of what the masses are doing. I could, in most respects, give a darn what the masses are doing, All right. And that's the truth, especially when it's affecting my bottom line or my health and wellness. No. So my job is to provide a balanced perspective, to give you options and alternatives to this should you find yourself in a place where this is no longer making you happy, or should you be in a place where you're experiencing the repeated trauma of painful retightenings, which are not being acknowledged as the problem that they actually are. While Ms. Cornwell has said in a very well-intentioned, and I believe her sincerely from the bottom of my heart, that if you're sitting in the chair and someone is doing your Sisterlocks and they hurt, they didn't get that from the brand, okay? She has stated that it is important to her that no one is doing Sisterlocks that way. I'm asking for clarification from you all out there. If you're a loctician, or I'm asking you to ask your loctician, do they remember when they took a class, if that was a focus and there was time spent talking about it, or if it was even mentioned? Because my concern is that that is the heaviest part of the ritual thing that we're doing consistently that's contributing more to hair loss than anything else, barring medical issues. All right. Yes, our systemic situation, our health and wellness is a huge factor in the health of our hair. But if you walk through the door at 50% health, and I can't tell, your body knows because your gut is jacked up. You're getting ready to, you got the beginnings of brain inflammation, which is the new diabetes type 3. Nobody can see that. The doctor can't tell you about that. But let's say you're walking through the door and you got all those problems. I can't see them. You look healthy. You're a vegan. You think you're doing good. You swim every day. You do yoga, but you can't see the brain inflammation. But remember, everything happens outside the aura. It happens at the quantum level. And then it moves in and it physically manifests. Everything starts in the unseen realm, right? So, but you come through my door and you got 50% health. To me, you look totally healthy. I know you're not 100% healthy because maybe I can see your energy and I can see the areas of your aura that are gray or that have black splotches, but that's not showing up with the doctor's equipment. But you come in and for all practical purposes, you're in good health. You got good hair. You got a head full of hair. That's what I mean when I say good hair. You got good hair. You got medium to high density hair. You're not having any problems. Okay, I've got to assume you're healthy, right? You might not be healthy, but let's assume you're healthy for the purposes of this discussion. You're doing Sisterlocks for 3 years. Nothing has changed. You're still a vegan. You're still healthy. You haven't even hit menopause, but even if you have, it doesn't mean you got to lose your hair. I'll say it again, and I've said it 1,000 times. Both my grandmothers went to the grave with a head full of hair, and I guarantee you they were women. They were naturally born women, and I guarantee you they went through menopause. And my mother still has a head full of hair, and she's 77. Okay, so I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's not a narrative that I'm going to buy into, because a narrative you buy into also is very important. So, okay. You know, you hadn't gotten on any other medication. You had no problems. You hadn't had a massive loss in your life. You didn't go through a death, some serious grief, or something that would create such a level of stress that it's going to affect your hair and cause it to fall out. You didn't have a 20 or 30 pound weight loss, which I did, and it cost me my hair. It cost me not a lot, all of it, but I lost a lot of hair. You didn't go through massive weight loss or anything crazy. But you find yourself in a situation where some years later, you don't have that high density hair anymore. You only have that medium density hair anymore. And if you had low density hair to start with, you got less low density hair. Your hair is low density now. And if you, like I said, if you started out with low density, you got super low density now. You got micro low density hair. And all you know is you see more scalp than you ever saw before. And you're not too happy and you want to know what's going on, and you go and you tell your loctician because, she wasn't the one that really brought it up to you. She didn't say, and some of them do. Thank God for Goldilocks. Thank God for Efrage. Thank God for NACA and people like that. And some of your locticians. Let's give the good locticians a shout out. We got some people out here, y'all, that don't even know anything about hair. They just picked up the certification in a few weeks over a course of a couple days, 3 days, and they're sitting up doing your hair. And they're telling you what your hair needs. They're going to tell you that you need to come in at 6 weeks when you know good and darn well you don't need to be in that chair, except maybe every 8 or 9 weeks. But you got to listen to them because they got some whatever it is that they may have going on. Let's hope it's not economics, but whatever it is that they're listening to, whatever the narrative is, that's the reality in their world. You got to listen to them, because maybe that's the only place in your city, or maybe that's the loctician that you like, or maybe you just don't know any better. So we got a whole range of issues here. I'm saying let's put them all on the plate. We can't always be able to show causation, but we can damn sure show correlation. Okay? There can be correlation without causation. There can also be correlation and causation. I'm saying correlation and causation, but even if you're not convinced about what I'm saying, you need to at least admit that there's perhaps some correlation between the retightenings, the frequency, the quality of them, how tight they are, how close to the scalp they go, if your hair is tangled up or it's being ripped apart as they race through in 2 to 3 minutes while you're in their chair, 2 to 3 hours before they get the next person. Like, there are a whole litany of different things that can be correlated to stressing the follicles. And you got to be willing to look at it. Because if you're not, I can promise you, I'll tell you and I'll tell you again, this is a journey that frees you from the tyranny of hair enslavement, but you don't want to be enslaved at another level either. And it frees you from the tyranny of the products and the relaxers and all of that, but it doesn't mean you get a free ride and you get to go to sleep. You can't sleep on this. You have to be a very active participant in your own hair care journey, so that you don't have to be an active participant in your own hair rescue. Because I can promise you, if you don't take heed to what I'm saying, somewhere in your journey, you're going to find yourself typing in YouTube, hair loss and thinning and Sisterlocks, hair loss and thinning and Microlocks or something, and you're going to come into orbit with one of my videos. Even if you're not listening to me now and you don't like me now, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you might find yourself trying to figure out who was that lady who was running her mouth, who was saying all that stuff, thought she know everything, and she was dragging the Sisterlocks, because I'm not dragging Sisterlocks, but she was dragging the brand. Who was she? Because now all of a sudden, your idol worship has a consequence. The fact that you worship the brand instead of taking a look at and listening to your hair and what your hair was telling you, and then also in tandem paying attention to what was happening every time you sat in that chair every 4, 5, 6, or 7 weeks, 8 weeks, or whenever. Now all of a sudden you're looking around for answers, and the only answers you're going to get is to go and see your dermatologist, or here, try my little oil with some lavender in it, or maybe take a look at our trichologist at the tune of how many thousands of dollars. And then they're going to be studying everything that you've been doing with your hair, but they ain't going to ever say nothing about the retightenings. And my thing is, you better be on it, because ain't nobody else on it. The other thing I'm saying is, it's time to raise awareness, and it's time to start talking to your locticians. Complain if they hurt your hair. It shouldn't hurt. Dr. Cornwell herself says, okay? Sisterlocks is not responsible for the work of locticians. It's really important for the client to do their due diligence. It's important that they make good choices. We will, as a courtesy, we will mediate. It can help us to identify when our consultants need additional support or training. And I'm saying they do need additional support and training. And it has to be a concerted effort, and it has to be a campaign. Because this is serious. Because even if I have 22,000 subscribers and only 10,000 of them have Sisterlocks, and only 4,000 of them are active on the channel, and out of 4,000 of them, only 3,000 of them vibe with what I'm saying, that's a significant number. And if I were doing my dissertation or my master's or my PhD, I'd have to provide some statistically significant data. And for me, this is statistically significant, and only a small fraction of people that have Sisterlocks even know about my channel. So you know there are other people. If this were a sample population, we could apply our numbers to the larger population to get a greater realistic sampling of what people are dealing with. So this is not happening in a vacuum, and there needs to be a raising of awareness. And since we're not getting that from the brand in any real way, whether they send newsletters out and keep in touch with their locticians, or they are taking complaints and then they're, got a active channel or podcast that is talking about this, it ain't happening. So guess what? Doesn't mean it ain't going to happen in the future, because there's a reason why Woolworth is not here and Kmart took over. And there's a reason why Kmart was finally consumed by Walmart. It's the marketplace that determines what gets to stay relevant. If we cannot be evolutionary in our entrepreneurial visions and ideologies and the way we build our company, we're going to become irrelevant. And in time, that's what happens. And now, whereas during her time, and we give great thanks and gratitude and I honor the light in her with the light in me for everything that she did for the brand. Because were it not for her, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about this. And were it not for her, neither would other smaller brands be popping up all over the place to provide us with choice. So in short, that's why I'm here, to give you options, to give you alternatives, and to help you to take a critical look at the things that you may be in either denial about or turning your back on that are actually going to be to your demise and to your detriment. So, she encourages you to get people that are on the registry. All right. That's a given. But the issues I'm talking about are related to the locticians that have their hands in your hair and you're getting up and your locks hurt. She was asked this question, and I felt it was important to talk about. She was asked, what are potential hair scalp problems associated with the long-term wear of Sisterlocks? Whoever asked that, maybe that question was even censored, but whoever asked that question had to see some correlation, or they were questioning if there is a problem, or could you run into issues if you ended up having this long term. And here was the response. In short, there are no hair and scalp issues that originate from Sisterlocks when it's properly done. And I can give her that for the most part, when it's properly done. Okay, that's an important point, because now she's going to tell you what is not proper. And it was helpful for me to know that she is, at least as of 3 years ago, I don't know if she's ever said this before in her other media or in her other interviews, but at least as of 3 years ago, she was recognizing, perhaps, even though it wasn't out for all of us to see, that maybe there's been some discussion related to this. There are no hair and scalp issues resulting from Sisterlocks properly done. Anything that you do with your hair can be done incorrectly. Yes, it sure can. People do things to their hair that can create long-term stress to the hair follicles. And that's what you hear me saying all the time, stressing the hair follicles, stressing the hair follicles, stressing the hair follicles. Okay, people do things all the time. But the Sisterlocks retightenings and the locticians who do them improperly, this is what I'm saying, create long-term stress to the follicles, which is why the person who's in charge of the Sisterlocks brand and all of those people who support the brand have to also be making a concerted effort to raise the awareness, and they have to do these campaigns, and they have to talk to people, and they have to follow up. It shouldn't be coming from us. We the victim. Shoot. You already did your part. You paid your thousands of dollars to get your install, some of you, and then you've been paying over $1,000 a year with the number of retightenings that some of you are getting at the price that they're becoming. And then some of you have had to run from that chair because your loctician would not listen to you when your hair was being hurt, and you had to walk with your feet. You had to vote with your feet and start doing your own retightenings, which is something we also talk about here on the channel. So we got a lot to talk about, y'all. We got a lot to talk about. She said that's the type, creating long-term stress on the hair. That's the type of thing that leads to problems with the hair and scalp, but it's not the proper way to do Sisterlocks. I love that statement, and I love that coming out of her mouth, and that should be played on every platform. Every sister that has a channel, please go to the Sisterlocks channel and watch the interview. There are not that many videos on the channel. The interview that was done 3 years ago, take that clip and put it on your channel. Or take that statement and talk about it on your channels, and encourage all of your Sisterlocks subscribers to talk to their locticians about this, or to play that for their locticians. It's time to stand up, because while we have issues with the fact that the brand may not be publicizing this or in a campaign at the level that they should be, it's on you to deal with your loctician, and it's on you to have that discussion, and to also leave regrettably if you have to. And if there's nothing else that you can do to help people not to experience what maybe you feel you have experienced at the hands of your loctician, is to do a review. And as I mentioned before, the review doesn't have to be ugly. You have to take a balanced, a middle of the road approach. The review can be so tactfully done that it leaves them intact, but it becomes a tool for learning, and it becomes a tool for discernment for those people who read the review. I.e., I love my Loctician. She was wonderful for many years. She took excellent care of my hair. I don't think my journey would have been as pleasant as it was were it not for her. She was always on time. She, didn't raise the prices on me. She was always professional. She wasn't on the phone, blah, 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 blah. However, during my time with her, I did experience some hair loss. And I feel on some level it may have been tied to the fact that we couldn't agree on what was an appropriate level of touch during the retightenings. And for that reason, I'm giving a 4. But other than that, I was happy. That's perfect. But it lets someone know, okay, this lady may be a little heavy-handed. Like, we got to do this, y'all. You have to do it. It's not hurting anyone. It's providing positive feedback. If I looked at my subscribers, and not my subscribers, if I was a Loctician and I looked at my reviews and 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 5% were saying she's too rough on my hair. I love her, but boy, that woman's got a heavy hand, but I love her. I was getting feedback like that, and I was reading that. You better believe that's going to be the first thing that's going to straighten me up. And even if I was rushing and I was snagging hair and I was being heavy-handed because I was rushing, guess what? Get enough of those. Somebody should be able to expect 2 or 3 years later to come back and say, wow, I love my Loctician. She moves with an adequate speed. My retightenings never hurt. I don't feel rushed. It takes her 4 to 5 hours to do my hair. She may charge a little extra, but it's worth it. Wouldn't that help you? Wouldn't you like to see the progression? So we got to think big. We got to recognize that even Spirit will teach us through things that feel uncomfortable. We have to all be willing to look at the feedback. We have to look at the feedback. Especially we have to look at it if it's significant. So this was really important here. And this is something else that she said. People do things to their hair that create long-term stress on their hair follicles. That's the type of thing that can lead to problems with the scalp and hair, but this is not the proper way to do Sisterlocks. They didn't learn this in any class that I've been in. If your Loctician is doing your hair and your hair is hurting in any way, and it's causing stress to your hair follicles, which if it's hurting, I can promise you it's causing stress to your hair follicles. I can promise you. You think my different layers on my dermis and even the blood that's trying to circulate is liking this right here. And then if I end up with a bruise, for sure, and it actually hurts, right? It's causing some type of tear or some type of damage or something, right? So she says, if you have a consultant doing your Sisterlocks, and when she does your Sisterlocks, it hurts, you need to revisit who you are going to, because this is not supposed to be happening. And I will tell y'all this until the cows come home. Take a stand. My dad, who was a part of the revolutionary action movement that gave rise to the Black Power movement, he would always say, and this didn't come from him, but I grew up in the household, he was saying it, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. We got to stand up for this. And it starts with you and your Loctician. If it hurts, tell her. Keep saying it over and over and over. Doesn't matter how many times you have to say it. If enough of us are saying it, eventually they're going to change the intensity of their touch, because the intensity of their touch should not create pain in your hair. If you feel pain, and pain is described as soreness, needing to spray water on your hair after your retightenings, needing to shampoo it to loosen it up, needing to put oil on it, needing to take Excedrin, Motrin, needing to go to sleep for the rest of the evening, not being able to put on your coat or pull your hair up after retight, whatever it is considered too much tension, is considered too much stress. It's going to harm your follicles, and it is considered pain. Pain, soreness falls under pain because it's some type of discomfort, and you got to do something about it. So it starts with you. I love y'all. I appreciate you. And I hope that you will comment in the comments. I hope you watched this video to the end. And if you did, please put in the comments, I watched it to the end. Okay? Let me know if you can relate to what I'm saying or not. And if you can relate to what I'm saying, please tell me why. And if you know of a loctician or you are a loctician and you remember that coming up as a discussion in your class from the trainer or the people who were in charge, or you remember seeing it in writing, or they at least spent some time acknowledging it, even if they didn't harp on it, let me know. I would love to know that. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate all your feedback. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I see you around, see you around, see you around. Bye, y'all. Purchase your copy of Manifesting Your Masterpiece on Amazon today.
Hey ladies, do you love the way your skin looks and feels? I know I do, because I am using the I Am Melanin Magic Anti-Aging Serum. And at 50, I love the way my skin looks and feels. This blend is bomb. It renews, revitalizes, rejuvenates, soothes, conditions, moisturizes, tones, brightens, and fades all in one step. So if you're ready to get your glow on, go get you some I Am Melanin Magic Anti-Aging Serum.
If you struggle with acne during your youth or even as an adult, it's time to give I Am Melanin Magic Acne Serum a try. Unlike other harsh products that dry out your skin, our oils balance and purify, helping to heal inflammation. All natural and formulated to meet the requirements of melanated skin. You'll see results in no time. Don't delay. Order yours today.
Do you have dark spots from skin irritation? How about unsightly marks from acne that's lasted way too long? Fade Magic can help you find your way back to radiance over time. Don't delay, order yours today.
If you are not using Melanin Magic Hair Oil, then what are you using?
Hi, I'm the creator of the I Am Melanin Magic Skin and Hair Care brand. The I Am Melanin Magic Hair Oil is our premier product. It is the leading high-end supplement for your mane.
It reduces breakage and promotes growth and can be used on all hair types and looks, from straightened hair and microlocks to wigs and protective styles.
It's antifungal, antibacterial, and it's anti-funk, so you know you're protected.
It softens and conditions your hair, and it's anti-frizz too.
Hey guys, so I started using this oil called I Am Melanin Magic since February of this year, and check out the new growth. Like, it's insane. Not only did it help with my new growth, but it smells amazing too.
See the dramatic improvements Denisha has made after not having hair around her edges for 3 years. Tanya's hair had been like this for almost 20 years, and while getting injections, her doctor said it was scarred and would never grow back. After 4 weeks of using I Am Melanin Magic, this is what she looked like. I Am Melanin Magic did this to Danette's hair after a short time.
This is really all your hair needs. It's rich with antioxidants, loaded with growth-promoting ingredients. Look at the growth of my hair. It's amazing. The product speaks for itself. Order yours today and don't delay. Don't delay. Purchase yours today.
I Am Melanin Magic, and so are you.